All right. Where you guys at? I appreciate everybody for tapping in with us, man. Let's get this show started. Oh, yeah. S- Hold on. Let's turn this off in the background. I think, hold on. Let me make sure everything is everything. Now, let's get it, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat right now, man. I appreciate you all for being in the chat. What is good? What is up? All right. Sit up there and bless that like button. Now you already know, man. This is King Supreme TV. We have dope conversations, giving you revelations and conversations that are just dope. You know what I mean? We bring hope to the hopeless. I said again, we bring hope to the hopeless. Pay attention and focus. Now let's get it. Take a deep dive up in it. I'm talking about this game. I'm talking about this game, this daily conversation. Let me clear my throat. True warrior scholar, what it do, my brother? Straight commando. You know. Now, for those of you who don't know, a brother in Los Angeles, you know, now North Ridge is like the valley on the outskirts of Los Angeles, but it's still Los Angeles County. So a young brother out there in North Ridge lost his life, man. And it was an off-duty ICE agent who unalived him, man, in terrible situation, man. But we're gonna get to the bottom of it. We're gonna have the conversation. Let's get it. Now, they said this brother was out there shooting, right? Uh, New Year's. New Year's Eve, they claimed that he was firing a weapon in the air now. I don't know how true that is, but the ICE agent said that he had a weapon in his hand. He was told to put it down. He fired upon the ICE agent, and then the ICE agent returned fire. And unfortunately, he unalived his brother. And he, you know, we talking about a 43-year-old man with two children that lost his life. 43-year-old man, for some reason, 43-year-old man lost his life. It's crazy. It's crazy. So we're gonna dive into the content. Reel it in rap, no cap, is King Supreme. Reel it in rap, no cap, it is King Supreme. My fault, man. We having some difficulties, man. I don't know how this is hold on one second. I don't know what's going on. Hey, you know, you got a troll in the comment section. Now I want you guys to understand, man. There's a troll in the comment section. He's going around YouTube using my profile pic and saying some crazy things, but it ain't me. It ain't me. I'm just here to let you guys know right now. It ain't me. It is not me. But hold on one second. For 1 second. For 1 second. Hold on. Microphone check. Microphone check. Yeah, but he's going around YouTube saying things using my profile pic. And just to let everybody know, that is not me. I'm just giving you a heads up. Anyway, let's get into this, man. First, we're going to get into the Minneapolis shooting of this woman that was out there protesting. Let's dive into the conversation.
Fox News alert, a city on edge. Huge crowds gathering in Minneapolis overnight after an ICE-involved shooting. People are tense after a woman is shot and killed by an ICE agent. A warning, the video we're about to show you is graphic.
You can see ICE officers approaching an SUV that was blocking the road. The woman behind the wheel quickly backs up. And as she...
Now, I don't know why he didn't have to shoot. That was kind of crazy right there. He didn't have to do that.
You can see ICE officers approaching an SUV that was blocking the road. The woman behind the wheel quickly backs up. And as she drives off, shots are fired, leaving her dead.
Alexis McAdams joins us now from Minneapolis with the latest. Alexis.
Good morning. So as we all see those pictures and those videos, not just, on our screen, but people here locally watching all these different cell phone videos, people have questions, and some people have already made up their mind. They've taken to the streets saying that ICE murdered this woman. But DHS says the agent was acting in self-defense. They say he was hit by that woman who was trying to interrupt an ongoing ICE operation.
He wasn't, excuse me, he wasn't acting in self-defense. His life was not in danger. His life was not in danger. No. Hell no.
Let's look at that video again, and it is a little graphic. Watch. No! No! Shame!
Well, I can't show that because that's a little too graphic.
And so those people just happen to be right there filming because this woman was trying to block the streets, according to agents. So DHS says the woman used her SUV.
Now, it is foolish. One thing you got to know is this, man. And it's about preservation and saving your life. When you pull out in front of if law enforcement steps in front of your vehicle and you hit the gas, they're gonna shoot you. They're gonna shoot you. Was his life in danger? Absolutely not.
Put it into drive and stepped on the gas, speeding toward the agents, hitting one. That agent opened fire. So a lot of videos. I want to show you a different one, though, that I've been looking closely at. So you can see this different angle appears to show the SUV strike the officer who fired the deadly shot. He was hospitalized but released. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem says the woman used her car as a weapon.
ICE officers and agents approached the vehicle of the individual in question, who was blocking the officers in with her vehicle, and she had been stalking and impeding their work all throughout the day. ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement, but she refused to obey their commands. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over.
So the woman who was killed has now been identified as Renee Nicole Macklin Good. We know she's 37 years old. She recently moved to Minnesota and was out there for what some people called being a legal observer, trying to see what ICE was doing. Investigators say she wasn't just here at this scene, okay? She had been walking around and following them around in her car at other locations to stop operations. Some officials say this woman was murdered by ICE. The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, saying they should get out of here.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense.
That wasn't self-defense, man. Excessive use of force, man. Like I say, these police officers, what they'll do is ICE agents, law enforcement, they'll use any excuse. His life wasn't in danger at all. That's crazy.
An officer over. ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement, but she refused to obey their commands. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over.
So the woman who was killed has now been identified as Renee Nicole Macklin Good. We know she's 37 years old. She recently moved to Minnesota and was out there for what some people called being a legal observer, trying to see what ICE was doing. Investigators say she wasn't just here at this scene, okay? She had been walking around and following them around in her car at other locations to stop operations.
Shout out to Fly Guy, man. He said they're just testing the waters. Now, I told you these protests are stupid. Now, she lost her life out there protesting, and for what? Now, rest in peace to the woman, but come on, man. I'm pretty sure you got children and you're out there protesting for exactly what? Makes no sense. But at the same time, the police officer didn't have the right to unalive her. His life was not in danger. So for him to shoot her and then to unalive her was just a terrible thing, man. This is crazy, man. And we seen a lot of cases where they shot black people for saying, for similar reasons. Oh, he was stepping on the gas. Oh, she was stepping on the gas. My life was in danger, so I fired shots. Yeah, right.
Some officials say this woman was murdered by ICE. The mayor, some people called being a legal observer, trying to see what ICE was doing. Investigators say she wasn't just here at this scene, okay? She had been walking around and following them around in her car at other locations to stop operations. Some officials say this woman was murdered by ICE. The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, saying they should get out of here.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bull. And I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis.
Okay, so as the shooting remains under investigation, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, who's at the center of a massive fraud investigation, is telling people not to believe what he calls the DHS propaganda machine. He says it's time for the feds to pack up.
We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait.
And Walz kept warning you guys yesterday, saying don't react, don't overreact, peacefully protest. But when you look at the video clips, they were trying to break into the federal building in one of the clips. And then also they're throwing ice and snow at those agents. Let's take a look. And whether the people here in Minneapolis support ICE or not, and they have questions, that's fair. They want to ask those questions. They can ask the questions. But assaulting these ICE agents, DHS says it's happening, and it's happening more often. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on it. Because of protests here, this is what the school district did. The Minneapolis school district is closing now for the rest of the week. They're saying we're just going to do it as precaution because they saw what happened in 2020 here where it was chaos. And so we're hoping that's not going to happen again. We'll be here on the ground, though.
Right. Democrats are great at closing schools. Thanks so much, Alexis. They're very comfortable doing that. So the kids pay the price. I'm just amazed, too. We can get into the nuances and we could slow all the video down and start looking where everyone was standing. Bottom line is, they were clearly telling her to stop. Do you know anybody in your life that when told to pull over by a cop would continue to drive and then plow straight ahead into that cop? That fundamentally is extremely dangerous behavior.
Alexis mentioned something in her hit there that this woman claimed to be a legal observer, having covered dozens of protests and riots. A legal observer does not put themselves in the middle of the law enforcement action by blocking, impeding ICE trying to move that car. Doesn't obviously speed away, putting potentially ICE officers' lives in danger. But I think it's very rich that the mayor, Jacob Frey, there is prejudging an investigation that has now started into what exactly happened by calling it murder, by saying that it was BS, that it was self-defense, and dropping F-bombs instead of facts. Watch.
I'm so sorry if I offended their Disney princess ears, but here's the thing. If we're talking about what's inflammatory, on the one hand, you got someone who dropped an F-bomb, and on the other hand, you got someone who killed somebody else. F-bomb, killing somebody. I think the more inflammatory action is killing somebody. And so, once again, let's be real and just honest and straight up about what's happening here. This is not okay. The way they're coming into cities, not just Minneapolis, but around.
I think ICE is doing... Overall, I think they're doing a good job with immigration, but you're always going to have bad apples out of that bunch. Now, this situation right here is going to make it look bad. There's a case in Northridge, California. A young man lost his life. We're going to get into that one. So now this is going to create conversation to where people are going to say, we don't want ICE in our city. Look at what happened in California. Look at what just happened in Minneapolis.
Country is not okay.
Yes, it is. You have illegal immigrant criminals in your city. You won't arrest them. Someone's got to.
A sanctuary city.
Good point.
ICE would not have to make at-large arrest if the local authorities cooperated with handing over violent, illegal criminal aliens over to the feds. So it's not only appropriate, it's necessary.
And these officers are just doing the job that they were told to do by the people above them. And you're right, Brian, when a police officer is telling you to get out of your car, you're supposed to listen. And she continues to drive. And if you look at different angles of that video, she did hit the police officer and he fired shots. And then Paul Murrow, who you interviewed earlier, said that if you look at where he fired the shots, it went through the windshield. So she was directly coming at him. It wasn't that he fired shots through the side of the car, Paul says. He said the car actually hit the officer and he had a few seconds to actually think, how do I handle this? And he fired shots because, as as Kristi Noem was saying, that she was using her vehicle as a weapon. She weaponized her vehicle. Kristi Noem also said the same officer had previously been dragged by a car back in June, dragged by an anti-ICE rider in June. The driver rammed him with a car and dragged him, and he sustained injuries at the time. So when you have that split-second decision to decide, how do I handle this? You see another car coming toward you. He fires shots because he feared for his life that she was going to hit him. And in fact, she actually did hit him. He's okay. He went to the hospital. And now he was released, and now he's with family.
And why were the tensions so high? Because for months you have had the governor, the mayor, and other Democrats fueling this rhetoric, painting ICE in a derogatory manner with assaults against ICE officers up 1,300%. And I thought, Brian, when you interviewed that Minnesota investigative journalist, Liz Collin, she was really tying it to the same kind of rhetoric we heard just 5-6 years ago. Listen.
I think they're sticking to the playbook from more than 5 years ago. Jump to conclusions, fan the flames, make this all about President Trump, and repeat their anti-law enforcement rhetoric. We heard it from both Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey and Governor Tim Walz with those press conferences yesterday. We did see thousands of people gather last night. We captured protesters on camera chanting anti-ICE messages.
Bless the like button. It ain't nothing. Let's go.
We know Minneapolis schools are canceled today and tomorrow. Activities canceled as well. They say due to safety concerns. And we know that Minneapolis police, they've been told any days off, they are now canceled through Sunday as the city continues to be on high alert. And certainly you're right, Brian, this rhetoric from our so-called leaders certainly not helping.
And Brian, you also asked her, what do we know about the woman that was shot inside the car? 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good from Colorado Springs, from that area, a poet and a writer, a wife and a mom. And the local reporter said that there was a woman also in the vehicle with her who got out and was crying and identified herself as her wife and said they have a 6-year-old child together.
So meanwhile, the other thing that was happening right before this went wall to wall with the shooting and the aftermath.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Lee Earhart. And clip.
Okay, so you see that, man. Let's we got another case over here in Northwest California. We're gonna go to that one, man. So just check me out, man. Check me out.
Community members in Northridge tonight are remembering a man who was shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent on New Year's Eve. Authorities say the agent opened fire when that man pointed a rifle at him. Tonight, activists are demanding answers and justice. Friends say Keith Porter was celebrating New Year's Eve when he was shot and killed.
But it looks like he may have been celebrating with a gun. Eyewitness News reporter Tim Pullian spoke with friends and family attending a vigil tonight, and they're now looking for answers.
We're here off Amberstoy Avenue, close to where Keith Porter was gunned down by that off-duty ICE agent. This memorial is here for family, friends to mourn. This song, meant to uplift, only lowered the mood as this crowd grieves the death of a 43-year-old father of two. Keith Porter was shot and killed New Year's Eve by an off-duty ICE agent. What would you like to say to the ICE agent if you had the chance?
If I could say anything to the ICE agent, is that you're a murderer. You stole my cousin from me. You stole their father from them. You stole a black man off the planet that God ordained to live and thrive. You stole a human life and you need to pay for it.
According to the Department of Homeland Security, the off-duty ICE agent heard gunfire near his apartment and went to check it out. That's when DHS says the officer encountered Porter holding a long rifle. Advocates say Porter was observing the holiday that night with gunfire.
You don't get to just murder people because you don't like what they're doing or how they're celebrating.
But the agent allegedly ordered Porter to put down the weapon. And when he didn't comply, DHS says the off-duty officer fired his service gun. The agency claims Porter fired 3 rounds at the officer before he was killed.
This is sad.
I don't believe that. Now they saying he fired 3 rounds at the officer before he was killed. They're lying, man. They are lying. How many people are you guys? Let me say this. Are you guys buying that? Do you believe he fired shots at the officer? I don't believe it for 1 second. They're lying.
You stole a. If I could say anything to the ICE agent, is that you're a murderer. You stole my cousin from me. You stole their father from them. You stole a black man off the planet that God ordained to live and thrive. You stole a human life and you need to pay for it.
According to the Department of Homeland Security, the off-duty ICE agent heard gunfire near his apartment and went to check it out. That's when DHS says the officer encountered Porter holding a long rifle. Advocates say Porter was observing the holiday that night with gunfire.
You don't get to just murder people because you don't like what they're doing or how they're celebrating.
But the agent allegedly ordered Porter to put down the weapon. And when he didn't comply, DHS says the off-duty officer fired his service gun. The agency claims Porter fired 3 rounds at the officer before he was killed.
This is sad. This is sad.
We've here 35 years. This is the first time that such a thing ever happened in my community.
As the LAPD investigates what led up to the shooting, the community want witnesses to come forward and the ICE agent identified, arrested, and prosecuted for killing the man they say was kind.
So I thank you. I thank you for my life.
Black Lives Matter Los Angeles organized this vigil. They are demanding accountability from District Attorney Nathan Hochman. In fact, they are having a community meeting with him on Monday in Northridge. Tim Pulliam, ABC 7.
And for those of you who don't know, Northridge is in Los Angeles County, man. It's in Los Angeles County. And yeah, man, we're just
Developing tonight, we're hearing from the family of a man who authorities say was firing gunshots in celebration of the new year when he was shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent. Fox 11's Rachel Aragon joining us live from Universal City, where the family's attorney is calling for an investigation. Rachel?
yeah. See, this one right here is just local coverage. Now, the white woman, she's going to get national coverage.
Investigation, according to the attorney and the family. Of course, that means to them, police interview everyone in the area that night on New Year's Eve to see if, in fact, Keith Porter shot towards that off-duty officer. But according to the family attorney I talked to earlier today, he says as of now, he sees no evidence that Porter himself was a threat that night.
His heart. Oh my God, he just loves so deeply.
Just days into the new year, the mother of 43-year-old Keith Porter is still filled with grief and disbelief. According to law enforcement, her son Keith fired celebratory gunshots into the air with an AR-15 style rifle outside his apartment complex on New Year's Eve.
Armed with an AR-15 rifle, possibly suffering from a gunshot wound.
An LAPD report states the off-duty federal officer confronted Porter, identified himself as law enforcement, and claims Porter fired toward him, prompted the officer to return fire.
What should have been a simple arrest and possible a citation has turned into a death sentence.
The family's attorney says this all could have been avoided.
But instead of staying in his apartment for a trained law enforcement officer from LAPD to respond, he made the premeditated and calculated decision to grab a firearm.
Fox 11 reached out to the Department of Homeland Security. In a statement, the department...
Yeah, that's where they had that big earthquake, man. This was like back in the 90s, man. I remember back in the 90s, man, that earthquake was huge. They said the fault was in Northridge, man. I woke up 3 o'clock in the morning, man. The house was rocking, like leaning and rocking, like boom, boom, boom. That was a huge earthquake, man. I remember that, Scoop.
Said the
enforcement officer from LAPD has turned into should have been a simple arrest and possible a citation has turned into a death sentence.
The family's attorney says this all could have been avoided.
But instead of staying in his apartment for a trained law enforcement officer from LAPD to respond, he made the premeditated and calculated decision to grab a firearm.
Fox 11 reached out to the Department of Homeland Security. In a statement, the department said the off-duty ICE officer bravely responded to an active shooter situation at his apartment complex. In order to protect his life and that of others, he was forced to defensively use his weapon. DHS goes on to say their officer immediately called police.
According to his version, Keith shot 3 shots towards him. We have questions on if there was any shell casing recovered from Keith's weapon that would indicate he in fact fired the weapon 3 times.
Keith's family and their attorneys say they have yet to find a witness to corroborate that the father of 2 fired towards the off-duty officer. Now, DHS tells me
Yeah, this is cold, man. Yeah, I remember that earthquake back in '94, man. Yeah, I remember that. Listen, and rest in peace to this brother, man. I'm not buying the fact that I'm not saying the fact. I'm not buying that story. You know, the ICE agent saying that he fired 3 shots. I'm not buying that, right? We need evidence. Prove it. But yeah, man, back in 1994, man, it was like that earthquake was huge, bro. Oh my God. And one thing I do remember is this, man. Listen. This is what I remember. The dogs was barking like 20 minutes before the earthquake. All the dogs on my block was howling. They was like, they was out there barking, right? And I couldn't understand why the dogs were barking. But like I said, they were barking like 20 minutes before the earthquake even happened. And then right after that, I don't know what time it was. I know it was probably like 2, 3 in the morning, somewhere like that. You know, all I know, I was asleep. And I woke up to use the bathroom and the dogs were howling. Then I went back to bed. Man, the whole house was rocking, bro. Felt like the house was just it felt like the house was just finna cave in. I mean, the house was rocking, bro. That had to be one of the scariest earthquakes that I ever experienced. 1994.
For any further questions to LAPD, which is currently investigating.
That would indicate he in fact fired the weapon 3 times.
Keith's family and their attorneys say they have yet to find a witness to corroborate that the father of 2 fired towards the off-duty officer. Now, DHS tells me they're referring any further questions to LAPD, which is currently investigating. We reached out to LAPD earlier today to see if they have yet to identify that off-duty ICE agent. They responded saying as of right now, they have nothing further to share on this case. Reporting tonight.
A vigil in Northridge for a man shot and killed by an off-duty ICE officer on New Year's Eve. DHS calls the officer a hero for confronting a man with a gun.
But a hero? That man wasn't no damn hero. You see how they trying to say the officer was a hero because he unalived the black man? Check it out.
For a man shot and killed by an off-duty ICE officer on New Year's Eve. DHS calls the officer a hero for confronting a man with a gun.
But family members of the man killed dispute that. CBS LA's Lori Perez is live in Northridge with their message and their cause for justice. Lori.
Well, Hunter and Gio, there was a lot of emotion here tonight, as you can see, evidenced by just how many candles remain lit here at this memorial beside papers filled with sweet notes to the victim. Tonight, those who knew the victim have ID'd him as 43-year-old Keith Porter, well known and well liked in the community.
If I could say anything to the ICE agent, is that you're a murderer. You stole my cousin from me. You stole their father from them. You stole Franciola's son from her.
Keith Porter's anguished loved ones are praying for his soul tonight as they are demanding justice. The 43-year-old father of 2 died New Year's Eve after being shot by an off-duty ICE agent at the Northridge apartments where they both lived.
Say his name! Keith Porter! Say his name! Keith Porter!
Dozens gathered for a rainy vigil Sunday, asking why Porter's alleged shooter has yet to be arrested, though they suspect they already know the answer. Porter's family contends he was shooting a gun in the air to mark the new year, while DHS frames what happened this way in a statement saying, on December 31st, an off-duty ICE officer bravely responded to an active shooter situation at his apartment complex. In order to protect his life and that of others, he was forced to defensively use his weapon and exchanged gunfire with the shooter. Porter's friends and family don't buy it, suggesting ICE agents have been emboldened to take the law into their own hands.
We have these unqualified, racist people that are carrying guns and badges. I do also have law enforcement in my family, and every one of them has said that this is not standard, this is not protocol.
BLM LA leaders who hosted the vigil are outraged by what happened and by what hasn't happened since.
Were this anyone else, there would have been an arrest. You don't get to just murder people because you don't like what they're doing or how they're celebrating. We want him named, we want him arrested, and we want him prosecuted. We also want ICE out of LA.
And this man was never even taken into the station. He went back into his home after murdering my little cousin.
Of course he went back home. They said he was a hero. I'm gonna go right back. I want y'all to hear what they said in the beginning. Why would they arrest him if they're saying that he was a hero?
A vigil in Northridge for a man shot and killed by an off-duty ICE officer on New Year's Eve. DHS calls the officer a hero for confronting a man with a gun. Killed by an off-duty ICE officer on New Year's Eve. DHS calls the officer a hero for confronting a man with a gun.
You don't get.
You see how they just called this man a hero? So no, they're not gonna arrest this dude. They're gonna say that he had every right to do it because what he said is, well, he shot at me, so I returned fire and unalived him. I'm not buying it.
Just murder people because you don't like what they're doing or how they're celebrating. We want him named.
Miss T. Wilson said you was in Hawthorne for that earthquake, huh? Yeah, shout out to Miss T. Wilson. Oh my God. You know what I mean? You know me, I'm living on the west side. Washington and Western, man. I was living on Washington and Western, right by the 10 freeway when that earthquake happened back in 1994, man. I was a kid. I was a little kid, man, but I remember it. But yeah, man, they said this dude was a hero for doing what he did.
We want him arrested and we want him prosecuted. We also want ICE out of LA.
And this man was never even taken into the station. He went back into his home after murdering my little cousin.
You know, LAPD told us today the investigation is ongoing. They told the LA Times it would be several days before they would be able to talk to the ICE agent because of the protocol in how deadly force investigations are handled when they involve federal law enforcement officers. We are live in Northridge tonight. I'm Lori Perez. Back to you.
Lori, thank you.
Yeah, man. So I want to, we're going to go, I'm going to show you one more clip of this and then we're going to drop the link, man. I want to see if you guys want to pull up. Shout out to Ambitions of a Rider for the super chat.
We are learning more.
Shout out to Ambitions of a Rider for the super chat. Shout out to C-Mac for the super chat. And shout out to my man Devin for the cash app. Shout out to Tony for the cash app. I appreciate you all for supporting this content, man.
About a deadly New Year's Eve shooting in North. We are learning more about a deadly New Year's Eve shooting in Northridge. NBC4 Investigates found out this involved an off-duty federal agent.
NBC4's Amber Frias is live from outside the apartment complex where this happened with more on this investigation and, of course, the reaction from neighbors out there. Amber.
Annabelle, Carolyn, it all happened right here inside the Village Point apartments. Neighbors say the complex is typically quiet, safe. Everyone we spoke with says they never expected something like this to happen, especially involving two of their neighbors. What neighbors first thought were New Year's Eve fireworks ended in gunfire and a deadly encounter inside a Northridge apartment complex.
Sad way to start the new year all the way around.
Los Angeles police were called to the Village Point apartments after an off-duty ICE enforcement and removal operations officer who lives at the complex reported a man firing a rifle into the air. The LAPD.
So he lives there. Okay.
What neighbors first thought were New Year's Eve fireworks ended in gunfire and a deadly encounter inside a Northridge apartment complex.
Sad way to start the new year all the way around.
Los Angeles police were called to the Village Point apartments after an off-duty ICE enforcement and removal operations officer who lives at the complex reported a man firing a rifle into the air. The LAPD says the off-duty ICE officer left his apartment to investigate after hearing the gunfire. At some point, they say the man firing the rifle was shot. In a statement, DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin says the off-duty ICE officer stepped outside with his ICE-authorized firearm and encountered a man armed with what appeared to be a long rifle. She says the officer identified himself as law enforcement and ordered the man to drop the weapon. When the man refused, McLaughlin says the officer fired his weapon in an attempt to disarm him. She says the man then fired at least 3 rounds at the officer. She says the officer then returned to his apartment for his ICE-issued body armored and called the LAPD. When officers arrived, the man was already dead. The ICE officer was not injured. Neighbors say the shooting has left them stunned.
He was nobody that I would be concerned about being violent, that's for sure.
Dan Lopez says he lived across from the man who was killed.
He was a nice guy, mellow, always pleasant to talk to, worked every day.
Lopez says the man lived alone and he didn't know him to own any weapons. He shared a photo with NBC4 he believes shows the rifle involved.
It just breaks my heart. It makes me sad.
Chris Hampton also lives at the complex. He described the place as quiet and close-knit.
Everybody's neighborly. I know most of my neighbors, they're all very friendly, very kind.
Both men say the tragedy hits close to home.
Every single day you read about somebody, but not 30 yards from your door.
And police have not released the name of the man who was killed. The investigation into the shooting is ongoing. Reporting live from Northridge, Amber Frias, NBC4 News.
Investigation underway. An armed man firing rounds outside Northridge apartment is shot and killed during an apparent confrontation with a DHS officer. That officer off duty at the time of the shooting on Roscoe Boulevard at about 10:30 last night.
Let's get right out to KTLA's Lindsay Pena for more details.
So that's what. Let's go back to Minneapolis, man. This is crazy. Hit the like button, man, and show some love to the show. I appreciate you all. I really do. I really appreciate the fans tapping in with us, man. Let's get to this conversation, man.
So getting the voice of people who live there in that community, because that is so important to us. Twin Cities community organizer and immigrants' rights activist Yu Dote joins me live from Minneapolis. Your reaction to what the governor there had to say relative to the feds taking over this investigation, not involving Minnesota law enforcement, right off the top.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I think that, I just spoke about this on MS now, but it's incredibly disheartening. I think it sows a lot of even more distrust during a time where community members are rightfully angry. Community members are rightfully not trustful of the federal government, especially after what happened yesterday. And, to have an investigation be solely now carried out by the FBI and the federal government and not having any local involvement raises a lot of questions, raises a lot of concerns. And it is highly unusual. For other high profile cases that we've seen across the country, we have seen partnership between the state or local law enforcement and the federal government. So we are disheartened to hear that, and we are angry about the federal government taking this course of action.
You heard the governor there say don't give them what they want, encouraging peaceful protests, even getting very specific and granular to stay out of public streets, to stay on sidewalks, to go about protests in a way that keeps law and order. Let's go back in time to what happened before that fatal shot was fired yesterday by the ICE agent. Do you have any awareness of what the planning was by protesters on the ground yesterday? Were you there on the ground?
I wasn't there on the ground yesterday, and I don't know what the plans were, but I can't emphasize enough everything the observers were doing were legal. It's in our constitutional right to protest. It's our right to be able to observe federal agents, especially when they're in unmarked vehicles, unmarked clothing, kidnapping our neighbors, and coming with such violence and such aggression towards our community. So everything that folks have been doing on the ground is just, it's legal, but ultimately it's just morally and ethically right. People are just trying to take care of each other and take care of their neighbors. And to see someone on the front lines that could have been easily any one of us killed in the process of taking care of their neighbors is tragic and acutely painful.
We know in all conversations there are difficult counterpoints to be had with respect to you and your position and those who agree with you. There are those who would say that the woman shot, as tragic as it is, the outcome there are those who see the video through a much different lens. They say she was blocking traffic. Do you feel like in that moment she shouldn't have been doing that?
What she was doing was, after the ICE agent said to leave the area, she was taking the order. She was trying to follow the order and leave, and they shot her anyways. And, I think folks who have this perspective, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And, even if, I don't think she was blocking traffic. And even if she was, is it a death sentence too? She was following an order, and the ICE agent, instead of de-escalating, fired 3 to 4 shots in her face. Like, it's just an incredibly violent response.
Now, I want to drop the link, man. Who want to pull up to speak, man? Shout out to Lions Dollars for blessing the Cash App as well. Who want to pull up to speak, man? The man in Northridge, I will say this. Pulling out a gun to shoot is unnecessary. I hope that wasn't the case, but let that be a lesson learned. Shooting in the air on New Year's is a bad thing. Police look for any reason, man, so you can't give them a reason, right? But let's get back to the content. Hold on, man. I appreciate you all, man.
Protests are growing in Minneapolis. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and President Trump described the shooting as self-defense, but the mayor and the governor have away. An officer fires into that vehicle, killing the 37-year-old woman during this operation that was happening in Minneapolis.
Now, this should show people, like, man, protesting for what, man? Getting out there protesting for what? You're not going to stop ICE from doing their job. You're just putting yourself at risk. Let that be a lesson learned for this white lady protesting for what? You're not going to stop ICE from doing their job. And when it comes to the brother in Los Angeles and Northridge, let that be a lesson learned. Shooting in the air is something you shouldn't do. Then again, we don't even know if that's true. Allegedly, they say that he was shooting in the air. So I don't know if that's true, but we're going to do our homework. We're going to do our thorough investigation. I want you guys to pull up and speak on both of these situations. I'm going to drop the link in another 4 minutes.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and President Trump described the
His life wasn't in danger, homie. I'm sorry. His life was not in danger.
Shooting as self-defense, but the mayor and the governor have disputed that. And now you're looking at some live pictures of protests that are happening in the city right now. There have been some clashes between officers and protesters over the last few hours. Some arrests have also been made. Let's get right to CBS News chief correspondent Matt Gutman, who is live at the protest and joins me now to talk more about this. Matt, you're right in the middle of it. Describe what you're seeing.
Vlad, I will give you just the state of play here. What you're seeing is an array of probably about 100 Border Patrol officers. You can see they have pepper guns. They just fire those pellets with pepper spray in them. They have little bear cans. Just trying to get a look right over my left shoulder here. It looks like there was something that was brewing, but basically there's been this fisticuffs, this pushing and shoving between several hundred protesters who amassed here very early this morning and began just crossing the street, marching towards the federal building, but didn't actually go into it. And then at first, a few, then many dozens of Border Patrol agents and federal officials and officers came out trying to push them back. They chemical agents, eventually some tear gas. They detained a couple of people. It got extremely heated at one point. And one of the things that became so apparent from being out here all morning is how angry people are here in Minneapolis. They are extraordinarily upset. They feel like this has finally come home. They have been warning about this kind of possible violence, and then it happened in essentially the same way that they had predicted. So lots of anger. And one of the things that we saw from these protesters is that these are people who actually came here early so they could then go to work afterwards. They're people with jobs, they're people who are members of the community. And, you know, it is pretty astounding, Vlad, when you see the number of federal agents out here, the force that they're carrying. It's a very impressive show of force. This woman has.
Yo, Verge, what's good, brother?
What's the deal with you, bro? Can you hear
Nothing
me?
much, man. Just chilling, man. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear, man.
Okay.
I want to get your thoughts on both of these situations.
Okay, well, the situation with the anyway, what's good with you, Ray? How you doing, man? What's good with everybody in the chat? I apologize about that, man.
Nothing, pretty good, man. How about yourself,
Man,
brother?
I'm good, man. You know, it's my 44th born day today, man. I'm feeling good, man. It's a beautiful thing that you having this topic for the show for today. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh man, happy birthday to you, my brother.
I
For sure.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. It's a beautiful thing, man. All praises be to the Most High. You know what I'm talking about? But when it comes to this situation, man, with the girl, man, it kind of take me back to what happened in my city, Columbus, a couple years ago, when a girl ran up in that liquor store off Sunbury Road and sit up there and
Yeah, I remember that.
literally did the exact same thing. Ran up the cop with her car after being told repeatedly to stop. And, you know, he fired his weapon and ended up killing the young lady. And this is like a mirror situation, like the exact same scenario down there. But it's ICE involved now. So, you know what I'm saying? When they told her to stop several times. And I'm not taking ICE's side. I'm just stating the facts of the situation. They told the lady to stop her vehicle numerous times. She did not stop. At that point, now whether he felt like his life in danger, you know, that could be argued, but the point remains, or the fact remains, is that she then at that point was breaking the law. She then at that point went from you know what I'm saying, just refusing to listen. Now her car is now weaponized due to the fact she didn't comply with the order. She was supposed to stop that car, turn the ignition off, put her hands on the steering wheel until they remove the car. That's what she was supposed to do. She didn't do that. So at that point, you know, what happened, man. I'm not saying, you know, she deserved it, but when you put yourself in them type of situations, man, and you respond or should I say react in those ways, I mean, what you think a cop is going to do?
Yeah, and I've been saying this, like, we're not justifying their actions, but we're trying to it's about prevention, and we don't want this to happen to nobody else. Because you remember, I covered the story when old girl in Ohio got shot. I said, now, should she got I don't think she should have lost her life, but we have to think about it. If the police are standing in front of your vehicle and they say get out, and you hit the gas, they're gonna
I mean,
shoot
come
you.
on.
So
I mean, what would you
trying to
do?
save lives. We're trying to save lives. That's all we're trying to do. Now, do I feel like his life was really in danger because he really was just moving out of the way? But for the sake of saving your life, don't press on the gas when the police is in front of you. You're giving them the excuse to shoot you.
And if we're just gonna keep it all the way 100, man, I mean, you know, I mean, the probability of his life being in danger probably wasn't that high, but I mean, it was icy out there. I mean, you know, it could have that a situation to where we would like to think his life wasn't in danger. That could have turned very dangerous very quickly. You know what I'm saying? And that's how that's how them people think. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, man, like I said, man, like when the police tell you to stop, man, you're supposed to stop, man. Like, like at the point that they tell you to stop and you don't, I want y'all to understand that they have the right to pop your ass, man.
Yeah, they
And I don't
do. That
understand.
gives
I
them
don't
the
know what,
right.
like, we've been living in America all this long, and people act like we don't know this. Like we got some type of authority over the police, and we do not. They're the authority. Do y'all understand that? So when they tell you to stop, you're supposed to stop. They tell you to stop walking, stop walking. Stop.
Right.
Stop moving.
Your job, and he's right. Your job is to live to fight another day. That's your mission at the end of the day. We know some of these laws are stupid, but we know if you buck, you're giving them the excuse to do what they already wanted to do. So don't give them don't give these no excuse.
Yeah, don't be tough, man. Cause don't be tough and get killed. You know what I'm saying? Trying to be tough, trying to prove a point and get your goddamn melon smacked off your head, man. You better go home with your family. You know. Now the second situation with the brother in California, man. I mean, it'll take a like Ray Charles can see what happened. You know what I'm saying? Dude was letting off his goddamn rifle for New Year's Eve, like most of us do. Um, Dude was probably a Karen of a ICE agent off duty who felt like his authority extends outside of his duty hours, and he thought he was gonna be nosy, and for some reason he thought he had some authority, which he did not. You know what I'm saying? And he thought he was gonna like chump dude off, or maybe they had some words before. Who knows? He said it's in the same neighborhood, so they might have been neighbors. They might have knew each other. And I mean, it's clear to see what happened. He went over there, abused his authority, try to tell dude to whatever, give up his gun or whatever. You ain't the police, and I mean, for when you ain't even on duty right now. No. And to say that dude shot at him 3 times, I mean, it's easy to use that as cover because it's New Year's Eve. I'm pretty sure it was like a melee of bullets going on out there. You know what I'm saying? Who's to say that those bullets was aimed at you, or how are you gonna be able to prove body cam footage that he aimed the gun at you and shot 3 times? So let us see that body cam footage. That'll tell everything.
Right. We're just taking his word right
Nah,
now. We don't
and
know.
listen
You know what I'm
here.
saying? They're just saying, well, he said it. Okay, but we don't have the proof.
Right. And listen here, Red. I'm glad you said that because I don't believe the police.
Right.
I don't believe y'all when y'all say just because the police said I don't believe that, man. I don't believe nothing the police. I don't believe anything the police say until proven otherwise. Because they have been proving the lie to us. So this goes with this thing, Red. It's a lot of things. Listen, stop shooting your guns on New Year's Eve. Just stop it. For one, it's goofy. Let's just, it was cool when we was young, shooting off our little gun, whatever. But man, now it's grown. Shooting off guns for what? Right? They're going in the air. People get hit. All type of crazy stuff happens. It's a waste of ammo, and to make the hood hot, it's just stupid. Dogs barking all night. It's just retarded. Right? Now, on the other side of that, you know what I'm saying? That gives the police leeway to come in our neighborhoods, over police them. That gives them the right to put surveillance cameras in our hoods more than what they is. Robots, and you got to understand where all this stuff can lead to. You got to look at so you got to be able to look down the line and see what's going to come or what's going to come along with all this stuff. You know what I'm talking about as we continue this behavior, man. You know what I'm talking about? Shooting guns on New Year's Eve, that could be considered violently radicalizing people, man. That could be considered homegrown terrorist behavior. According to HR 1955, huh? You out there shooting them guns, man. You know what I mean? It's all well and good, but at the same time, you got to think about is you and the mind y'all, it's not it's how can I say this? It's against the law, I think, in some cities and some ordinance to just be discharging your gun for fun. I don't think you're allowed to do that. I don't think that's like legal.
No, you really can't do that. That's why I used to tell my homies, like, get away from that, because now in some cases it could be a felony. You know what I mean?
Right. It's called discharging a firearm within legal or city limits or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's something like back in the day it wasn't a felony, but nowadays, yeah, you can get a felony for that.
Yeah, you get booked for that. You gonna get
So
booked for that nowadays.
So stay away from that, y'all. It's all about prevention. We know the police and law enforcement, we know they're assholes. So with that being said, don't give them an excuse, man.
Exactly. Like, just stop it. Like, for one, it's just retarded. It's a waste of bullets, like I said, waste of ammo. You're making the hood hot, giving the police a reason to be out here. And then, I mean, it's like, then just think about it. Like, you shooting bullets up in the air, they gotta come down. Y'all don't think about that. It's just it's just retarded, man. Like I said, it was cool when we was younger, but as adults, man, like, I just don't understand why we still doing that, man. It's retarded to me, man. I just think
dude was 43 with 2 kids,
43 with 2 kids,
that's what makes
shooting a
it
long
worse.
ass.
That's what makes it worse, Virgil. This was no YN. This dude was our age. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Red. I'm like, come on. I can say that's why, and that's the reason why I made that point. I'm like, come on, bruh. You 43 years young, man, and you still shooting guns off on New Year's Eve. Man, I don't even remember the last time I did that, man.
Yeah,
But
man.
rest of the answer to that, brother. I'm not saying he deserved to die because he didn't. Dude was dead wrong. He was all the way out of his rights too. Just you ain't, man. That's what I'm saying. And then here goes the message to all you law enforcement types. Y'all's power or authority only extend to your badge, and that's when you on duty, on clock. When you off the clock, you are no authority. You can get dealt with and handled like anybody else. You cannot enforce and impose the law on anybody when you're off duty. You have no authority to tell no man to give him his gun because you pull tight on shooting on New Year's Eve, man. What's wrong with you, man?
Hey, Virgil, they labeled this dude a hero. They said he was a hero for stopping a man with a gun. That's what they said in the media.
I mean,
Bro.
and that's just crazy right there that he could be labeled a hero for basically abusing his authority, which I'm pretty sure is very illegal, right? For sitting up here, pulling up on this man's property, you know what I'm saying? Pulling up on this man when he ain't had no reason to. I'm pretty sure he wasn't the only guy out there shooting. And even if he was and he just seen him, what type of fool pull up on another dude busting a gun, talking about some give me your gun?
Yeah, that's
What you think is going to happen from that exchange? And bro, you like I said, you off duty. You dress plain clothes. Who's supposed to listen to you because you said stop? I'm ice like big. That's crazy.
how do I know who you are? You off duty. I don't know who you are.
Exactly. You, for all I know, you could be the ops.
Yeah, that's
You could be
crazy.
trying to rob me, or whatever the situation may be.
Yeah,
And
it
then
was just bad.
as far as him shooting at the cop 3 times, that body cam footage is going to show all of that. If that's true, it's going to show all of it. So we need to see that footage. Like in all cases like this, we need to see that footage.
And I'm pretty sure they're gonna say there is none. So this case is gonna boil down to them taking his word. Because I'm pretty sure now all these cameras that they usually have, they're not gonna have a camera, so they're gonna go off the word of the off-duty ICE agent. I promise you that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, they probably gonna try some of that old bullshit, man. Because when it comes to some old other stuff, all the surveillance cameras from the car lot across the street, the corner store around the corner, and the damn bank in front of the whole where the situation happened. Everybody got footage. When stuff like this happened, now it's just like Stevie Wonder with the damn footage and the body cam footage and all that. So you know how that stuff go, man.
Yeah,
What's an answer to that, brother, man? That's very unfortunate, man. 3 kids, that's crazy, man.
yeah. And then and then with this situation, well, with this situation with Becky is gonna make national news. The thing with the brother, you got people in LA that's never even heard of this, man. I talked that. I'm like, you heard about it? Like, nah, we ain't heard of it. So if you got people in LA that's never heard of it, it's not gonna make national news. Now, this situation with this Becky, yeah, this is gonna hit national news for sure.
Yeah, you see how they basically promoting it and advertising it. Basically,
Yeah.
it's on all the major news outlets. It's all that I've seen on my phone since it happened. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm resting the essence too. I'm not saying she deserved to die, but I'm just saying though, man. When y'all sit up here, think y'all about to go out here and defy ICE. You do not have a constitutional right to defy law enforcement. What is wrong with y'all, man? Like y'all can y'all allowed like you can do this, like you have a right to do this. No, this is against the law to impede law enforcement from doing their jobs, man. Like let ICE do their jobs, man. And if they get caught doing some BS, then that they're gonna get held accountable, man. But until then, ain't no point in nobody out there protesting. You're not gonna prevent anything, you're not stopping anything. ICE agendas are rolling out as we see. People are getting deported, they're getting rounded up. There's nothing you can do to stop it. Nothing. So y'all just need to relax and go home, let ICE do their job, let things unfold like how they may, man. One thing for sure too, for certain, Red, us FBAs don't benefit from involving ourselves in this situation in any way possible.
Yeah, we don't benefit from this. Let the white people protest on this one. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to all the victims, but we got to bring more national coverage to this brother that lost his life in Norridge. White people got this. They're already protesting right now about this white woman for sure.
Right. And let this be a lesson to us FBA too. You see how they turn up when something happened to one of theirs? See how it becomes national, global news when it fits and this don't even fit no agenda. It's just making an outcry about it, right? Arguably, this lady was dead in the wrong. No pun intended. Right?
Yeah.
She was wrong. She broke the law.
Yeah, she was told
Understand when the
several
cop
times. Go ahead, brother.
and I can't drive this home enough. Understand, y'all, when a police officer tells you to stop and you do not stop, you are currently breaking the law. I want y'all to know that. like, like you don't have like you can't run away. Like you can't run away from the police after they tell you to stop.
Yeah, she was told to stop several times.
Like, come on, man. Like, come on, y'all, man.
And then
That's what
you
I'm
out there
saying.
protesting, and then you out there protesting because you're trying to save some damn immigrants. Like that. You listen. If you got kids at home, you ain't got no damn business out there protesting, trying to legalize border hopping. What do you look
I,
like putting yourself in danger, disobeying ICE, putting your foot on the gas when you're told to stop? Fool, you got kids at home. You out there protesting for to lose your life over nothing.
Absolutely nothing. And then I know people might think this is distasteful, but it's the truth. The truth don't always taste good, man. It ain't always roses and glitter and gold, man. Sometimes the truth is bitter and nasty. And the truth is, you know what I'm talking about, man. When it comes to ICE, man, or you know what I'm saying, they just doing their job, man. You know what I'm talking about? And you ain't gotta like them, man. But one thing for sure is the people who y'all out here protesting for, they absolutely would not be doing it for you, and they don't care about you at all. They don't advocate for us. They don't advocate for us at all. None of these group of people, man. None of them do ever. So, and we're not scandalous. We're not being divisive or nothing if we don't support them. If we just don't, if we decide, hey, man, our name is Bennett and we ain't in it. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you foul. That doesn't make you racist. It doesn't make you divisive or none of that stuff y'all be saying nowadays, trying to guilt trip, shame somebody into, speaking up for, when it comes to our people and us delineating and, not having anything to do with all this stuff, man. You know, so it's the same type thing, man.
Yeah, man. Just unfortunate. It's like you out there protesting, and for what? You're not gonna protesting is not gonna stop ICE from doing their job. Don't you have
No.
a 9 to 5? Don't you have children at home? It's like, what's the purpose of going out there protesting against ICE? Then you're doing it in the snow on top of everything. You're out there in the snow doing this stupid crap.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying she meant for her car to hit the cop. I'm not saying that she intentionally meant to do what she did. What I'm saying is due to the weather conditions and her probably being scared, you know what I'm saying? And this is what I'm saying, man. Y'all ladies, man, y'all need to go home, man. Why are y'all out there protesting? Why are y'all out there on the front line? Why are y'all out there yelling and screaming at grown men with guns and armed to the teeth with balaclavas and body gear, armor gear, protective gear on, and semi-automatic and fully automatic. Well, why is y'all out there yelling at them? Like what you screaming at them is going to change something or stop something or prevent something.
Right.
Like ICE is here. There's nothing you can listen, y'all. There's nothing y'all can do to stop ICE or prevent ICE from what they're doing. They're sanctioned by the federal government. They're rounding people up and they're getting their asses out of here. Y'all should just stay out the way and let them do their damn job. Shit, I'm like for sure. I mean, for sure, that's what y'all should be doing. Y'all are impeding on federal business. Man, I don't understand why y'all think that's okay. Like,
Yeah. Like, when has protesting ever stopped ICE from deporting people?
like, and then that's what I'm saying though. Like, and that's the thing. It's not. It never has, and it's not. Y'all can sit out there and protest all damn day if y'all want to. ICE is still gonna be cracking heads and dragging their asses back to wherever they from.
Yeah, and when you got kids, man, you already know there's been a lot of situations where people got hurt at these protests. You got kids at home, you look stupid out there protesting in the snow on top of all of that. Lady, don't you got something else that you could be doing besides protesting, being disobedient towards law enforcement? I don't think anything's going to happen to them because they're going to say, well, we gave her direct orders several times. She disobeyed, then she put her foot on the gas, and I was forced to fire a fatal shot. You know what I mean? So I don't think
Yeah.
this guy's going to jail. I don't think the guy in Northridge that shot I don't think either one of these ICE agents are going to jail behind this. I just don't.
Nah, just like out here in my city, man, old girl dude got off on that because in the process of him doing his job, it's very unfortunate though, but that was in the line of duty, So you know what I'm saying? Now it's a very similar situation, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, hopefully our brother out here in California, get a little bit more justice. I mean, and I hate to say that, I agree with Red. I don't think, but the fact that is it going to be justice? I mean, I'm saying, like all this stuff going on, it make you kind of question what's justice now. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
one thing for sure, two things for certain though, man. Cop was all the way wrong for pulling title on dude. But then again, y'all, man, I don't know why, but it's such a tradition, and it's basically been tolerated. It's not legal. You absolutely are not allowed to be just shooting your guns off in the air within city. You're just not supposed to be doing that, man. That is illegal, right? So, like I said,
Yeah. It's illegal, and they already painting the picture like this, bro. They're saying people in the building was scared, and he was notified, so he went down there to confront a man with a gun, and he was a hero because he stopped the man with the gun. So that's the narrative they pushing. He was a hero. A crazy man was firing in the air. There's children who live in the building, so he did it. He's a hero for stopping his man with a gun. So they already calling him a hero for unaliving that brother.
right. All right, well, I gotta go pick up my daughter, Red. She calling me on the phone right now, man. I just wanted to pop in and chop it real quick and drop some, some game on this stuff right here and just speak on this because, this been on my phone, both of these situations all day. And, you know what I'm saying? Like I say, y'all just remember situations like the first one, man, and the second one, man, two things can be true, man. And we gotta be willing to look at both sides, man. And, I'm talking about, analyze the situation. Maybe wait till more information about these things comes out first before we start condemning and talking about some is racial and all that type stuff, man.
Yeah, man. Well, shit, Verge, I appreciate you, man. Happy birthday to you, my brother. Know you got some moves to make, man. I'll tap in with you in a little bit, my
Man, you
brother.
already know, man. Y'all enjoy the rest of the show, man. Smash that like button, click the bell, subscribe to the page, man. Share us social engineering, hit that cash app and that super chat from my brother Red, man.
Appreciate you,
All
Verge.
right.
All right. Shout out to my homeboy Virgil Berry. Now, this is the protest right
Work
here.
afterwards. There are people with jobs. There are people who are members of the community. It is pretty astounding, Vlad, when you see the number of federal agents out here, the force that they're carrying. It's a very impressive show of force. This woman has a placard right here that says, say her name, Renee Nicole Good. We've heard a lot of that this morning. So obviously the city very much on tenterhooks, I'm told, from protest leaders and organizers that this is just the start of it. We're going to see a lot more of these types of actions in the coming hours and days.
Matt, you're no stranger to having covered protests. You've covered them all over the world, in the Middle East, in Latin America, and in Asia. And I wonder, we interviewed the police chief of Minneapolis earlier this morning on CBS Mornings, and we specifically asked him if the actions that he witnessed on that video where Renee Nicole Good was killed were protocol, and the protocol that he would have applied to his officers in the Minneapolis police force. He said, as you've heard from the mayor, that the very presence of these 2,000 ICE officials in that city has made it as tense as we are seeing behind you right now. How would you describe the posture of these ICE agents that you're seeing right now on the streets and over the last 24 hours?
Okay, let's take a look at them right now. I mean, they're being very measured. They've taken a step back. At first, they were in a posture that was definitely poised and ready to go. Right now, also because the crowd has thinned out significantly from many hundreds to probably just a few dozen, they're much more relaxed. But one of the things that stands out about that video is what you see and then how it will likely be interpreted by Department of Justice lawyers. And I spoke with a former Department of Justice lawyer, someone who's still involved in legal work with the government, and he said the key issue in that video is likely to be, did that officer at that moment feel that he had a reasonable threat against him? And that's what they're going to have to figure out. So there's going to be a lot of gray area in terms of the DOJ and the FBI investigating this, and then whatever other agencies are involved in the investigation. But whatever it is, so many people saw it. That video has gone viral. There have been so many angles, and people in Minneapolis and across the country are incensed about what they saw. What they say is a woman who was just gunned down essentially in cold blood. So this is just the start of something. The question is, is there going to be another spark that sets something off? Or are these protests and the protesters going to keep things moderately peaceful? Today wasn't as violent as it could possibly have been. They could have been much, much worse. I think both sides are still in some ways testing each other out, Vlad.
Yeah, and finally, Matt, you know, the other thing that the police chief told us is that officers are trained to not put themselves in positions like that one ICE official was. In other words, in front of a moving vehicle. And so I wonder, and there's also a moment where you hear in some of the video that I've seen, Matt, you've no doubt seen it and heard it as well, where a woman is essentially screaming at these ICE officials, and a doctor is trying to get to Renee Nicole Good to try and treat her. ICE officials aren't letting them. Is that part of the anger that you're seeing on the ground when you talk to those protesters, that it's not just the shooting and the killing of this woman, but it's also just what's been happening in the aftermath?
I think it was the cavalier attitude of the federal officers on the ground. I think there was somebody who said, just relax, or, you know, calm down. And obviously for protesters who were there, who were filming somebody being shot in the head, and even if she had done something, everybody who is wounded deserves first aid. I mean, that's just, you know, basic human decency. I think also standard operating procedure for all federal agencies. So I think there's a lot of upset about how that was handled as well. Again, Vlad, we don't know the details. We weren't specifically there. We don't know what was going on behind the scenes. Were they activating medics to try to go to the scene and they just were trying to control the crowd? We don't know a lot of things, and it's very easy at this point to jump to conclusions. But I'm, I guess, relating what people in the community here are telling us, that the source of their anger was absolutely seeing somebody not being tended to when they obviously had extremely serious wounds, and when they had medical personnel who could have attended them but were not allowed to do so, Vlad.
Yeah, Matt Gutman reporting on the ground for us. Matt, good to have you at CBS News. Your reporting has been incredible, of course, and you're right in the thick again. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
All right, man. So you heard it. You heard it, brother. That's the word from the curb. You heard? You know?
Now to CBS News correspondent Asher Qureshi, who is on the ground in Minneapolis in the wake of this ICE shooting. So, my friend, what stands out to you from what you've now heard from Governor Tim Walz as it squares with Kristi Noem, Department of Homeland Security?
Is exactly that it does not square, and there is a vast divide between the perspectives we're hearing from federal officials and state and local officials. And people online, people here on the ground are talking about this video and what they're seeing in this video. And what I can tell you, Reed, is that it is a very different perspective here on the ground. We talked about, you know, impeding the way, the thoroughfare for ICE agents. I can tell you right now, by being here, the perspective I have now is completely different than what I saw on the video. This is not a small street. This is a boulevard. It is large. It is about 4 lanes. You're talking about 2 lanes of driving and a full parking lane on both sides. So to block this entire road, you'd have to be turned sideways, and you're looking at about 2.5 to 3 car lengths at this point. So the idea that she could have potentially blocked this entire boulevard, people here say, doesn't square with the reality on the ground. And that's what we keep hearing from Governor Tim Walz, and we're hearing the opposite from Kristi Noem.
And you're there where the people are, in that neighborhood where violence played out. They've now had 24 hours since that, the white-hot glare of the international media looking at their neighborhood. What are they saying, especially in the wake of the governor there saying don't give them what they're asking for by way of the federal government, and maybe even adding more troops?
Right. Well, clearly this is crystallizing opposition to the ICE, the immigration actions that have been happening here in Minneapolis already. I'll just give you a sense. I want to step out of the way so you can see this. What's happening behind me is these are barricades. These have not been set up by law enforcement. These have been set up by the people here. You can see they're gathering in the distance. This crowd has been growing from morning, and it has been extremely peaceful. They have been very calm. They are lining up around a memorial that has been set up for Renee Good. Flowers and stuffed animals, all kinds of trinkets have been dropped off here. But this area, they wanted to close off for pedestrians so that people could actually come.
Yeah, see, this right here is going to make major headlines. It's already reached mainstream media, man. This is a white woman, so Now hopefully Black Lives Matter do their job when it comes to shedding light on that situation that happened to our brother out there in Northridge. Now, with this situation, it's all over mainstream media. You got people marching, protesting. They're not going to let this slide. They're going to do everything in their power to bring attention to what happened to this white woman, right?
Visit and pay tribute to this woman whose life was taken yesterday. Read.
The story continues. Usher Qureshi, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a white woman. That's a white woman now. Oh no, 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 no.
Taking a live look from Minneapolis this morning as protesters are out on the streets after an ICE agent shot and killed a woman. This happened as 37-year-old Renee Good was trying to drive away from the officers after she was told to stop. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem says this was an act of domestic terrorism, that the woman attempted to run over an agent. Many others, though, are blaming ICE, including the mayor of Minneapolis. Crowds of protesters, they've been formed in cities all over the country, including New York, Washington, D.C., Portland, Seattle, and in Tacoma. Now, Governor Tim Walz expected to give an update on the investigation any minute now. We're keeping an eye on that. We'll tune in just as soon as that begins. You can see there is a podium there. Everybody is set up waiting for him to arrive. But for now, Sean Chitness is in the newsroom.
Black Lives Matter, they're not going to get involved in this because this is a white woman. Now, Black Lives Matter, they are trying to get involved in the situation in Northridge. Now, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do, brothers. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. Show love, show love. I don't think you are. Hey, man, I don't think y'all know. Let's go back to the brother, man. I want you guys, because a lot of people don't know about this one, man. So I've been trying to shed light on it.
Now to the San Fernando Valley, where an off-duty Department of Homeland Security agent shoots and kills a man who was firing a rifle into the air last night. Fox 11's Nick Garcia, he's live there in Northridge with what neighbors are saying about the shooting. Nick?
Hey, Marla, well, you can imagine just how frightening it was for those families as they were gathering to celebrate the new year to then suddenly hear shots from an AR-15 rifle. Witnesses say they heard at least 10 shots. Take a look.
Armed with an AR-15 rifle, possibly suffering from a gunshot wound by the PR.
The Los Angeles Police Department confirms a man was firing shots from a rifle into the air at an apartment complex off Roscoe Boulevard in Northridge New Year's Eve.
It was like a lot of shots. It was more than 10 shots. It was orange shot. And we got scared, but I thought it was something.
No, my thing is this: why would you pull out an assault rifle? Now, allegedly, this is what they're saying, but for you to take an assault rifle out and fire that in California is crazy, if this is true. So they're saying that this black man was firing off an assault rifle. My God, man.
AR-15 rifle, possibly suffering from a gunshot wound by the PR.
The Los Angeles Police.
Where an off-duty Department of Homeland Security agent shoots and kills a man who was firing a rifle into the air last night. Fox 11's Nick Garcia, he's live there in Northridge with what neighbors are saying about the shooting. Nick?
Hey, Marla, well, you can imagine just how frightening it was for those families as they were gathering to celebrate the new year to then suddenly hear shots from an AR-15 rifle. Witnesses say they heard at least 10 shots. Take a look.
Armed with an AR-15 rifle, possibly suffering from a gunshot wound by the PR.
The Los Angeles Police Department confirms a man was firing shots from a rifle into the air at an apartment complex off Roscoe Boulevard in Northridge New Year's Eve.
It was like a lot of shots. It was more than 10 shots. It was orange shot. And we got scared, but I thought it was something, like fireworks.
LAPD says a neighbor who happened to be an off-duty Homeland Security agent confronted the suspect, then shot him.
Is a Homeland Security agent Currently waiting his work attire.
The man died at the scene, and no one was arrested. While this agent was off duty, there have been several recent incidents involving use of force by DHS. Just days ago, a federal judge dismissed charges against TikTok creator Carlitos Richard Parias. During an October immigration enforcement stop in South LA, DHS said Parias assaulted federal officers by ramming his car into theirs. Agents shot him in the elbow. The judge says the government has failed to release body camera footage and violated the defendant's right to counsel. Also in October, ICE agents shot a man in Ontario as he tried to intervene in immigration enforcement action. Back in Northridge, neighbors brought in the new year on edge.
It's scary. Most, I was telling my kids I just don't want to go home because I'm a little bit nervous, but everybody's scared on my own because we didn't know that this was going to happen.
Shout out to Nata for the super chat. I appreciate you, Nata. Nata, hey man, Nata always sliding through with the love on the super chats every time I come through with these shows. I appreciate you.
Here.
And that woman really captured the way neighbors here are feeling. We spoke with a few off camera who felt the same way as she did. Police have not shared yet the name of the man or any other information about him. It's also not clear yet if he lived here or if perhaps he was visiting someone here. Marla?
All right, Nick, thank you.
So that there you go, man. There you go. So that was the brother, man. Matter of fact, let me do this real quick. And we're going to go back to Minnesota. We're going to go right back to Minnesota, man. Tragic situation, man. And a lot of you guys never heard of this. This is why I'm a play it one more time because I want you people to understand that this brother lost his life by an ICE agent as well. So
community members in Northridge tonight are remembering a man who was shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent on New Year's.
His name was Keith Porter, man. Damn, airplane loud as hell. Yeah, this took place in Northridge, man. The brother name was Keith Porter. He was 43 years old. He was a father of two.
New Year's Eve. Authorities say the agent opened fire when that man pointed a rifle at him. Tonight, activists are...
Now, we don't know if this is true. Oh, well, the ICE agent said he pointed a rifle at him, so he was forced to shoot him. We don't know if this is true. There's no video footage. There's no cameras. We don't know. They're just taking a word of this ICE. They're taking a word of this ICE agent. There's no proof. There's no surveillance. There's no cameras. We don't know if any of this stuff is true.
Opened fire when that man off-duty ICE agent on New Year's Eve. Authorities say the agent opened fire when that man pointed a rifle at him. Tonight, activists are demanding answers and justice. Friends say Keith Porter was celebrating New Year's Eve when he was shot and killed.
But it looks like he may have been celebrating with a gun. Eyewitness News reporter Tim Pullian spoke with friends and family attending a vigil tonight, and they're now looking for answers.
We're here off Amestoy Avenue, close to where Keith Porter was gunned down by that off-duty ICE agent. This memorial is here for family, friends to mourn. This song, meant to uplift, only lowered the mood as this crowd grieves the death of a 43-year-old father of two.
Say his name, Keith Porter.
Keith Porter was shot and killed New Year's Eve by an off-duty ICE agent. What would you like to say to the ICE agent if you had the chance?
If I could say anything to the ICE agent, is that you're a murderer. You stole my cousin from me. You stole their father from them. You stole a black man off the planet that God ordained to live and thrive. You stole a human life and you need to pay for it.
According to the Department of Homeland Security, the off-duty ICE agent heard gunfire near his apartment and went to check it out. That's when DHS says the officer encountered Porter holding a long rifle. Advocates say Porter was observing the holiday that night with gunfire.
You don't get to just murder people because you don't like what they're doing or how they're celebrating.
But the agent allegedly ordered Porter to put down the weapon. And when he didn't comply, DHS says the off-duty officer fired his service gun. The agency claims Porter fired 3 rounds at the officer before he was killed.
This is sad. This is sad.
Live here 35 years. This is the first time that such a thing ever happened in my community.
As the LAPD investigates what led up to the shooting, the community want witnesses to come forward and the ICE agent identified, arrested, and prosecuted for killing the man they say was kind.
So I thank you. I thank you for my life.
Black Lives Matter Los Angeles organized this vigil. They are demanding accountability.
For my life.
Black Lives Matter Los Angeles organized this vigil. They are demanding accountability from District Attorney Nathan Hochman. In fact, they are having a community meeting with him on Monday in Northridge. Tim Pulliam, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Wow, man. So shout out to Crystal Watson for the super chat. I appreciate you, Crystal Watson, for the super chat. So yeah, Northridge is a quiet suburb of LA. That's like in the valley, the San Fernando Valley, right outside of LA, but it is Los Angeles County. Yes, Northridge is a quiet area for the most part, right? But man, oh man. I don't know, man. There's no footage, there's no surveillance. They're just taking the word of this off-duty ICE agent, but he has no proof to back. He doesn't have, he can't prove that any of this happened because there's no footage. There's no cameras. We're just taking his word. Well, I'm not taking his word. Law enforcement, they're taking his word. You know what I'm saying? They don't know if any of this stuff is actually true. They're just going by, well, he said it, then if he said it, then the black guy must have did it. You know, that type of time right there. Well, the law enforcement said it, then that means he must have did it. You know, so I wanted to shed light on what happened to this brother, man, because a lot of people ain't talking about that. They ain't talking about
a vigil in Northridge for a man shot and killed by an off-duty ICE officer on New Year's Eve. DHS calls the officer a hero for confronting a man with a gun.
But family members...
They called this man a hero. He's not a hero. How you going to say that he's a hero when there's no surveillance or no cameras to prove that what he's saying is actually true? Oh, he's a hero because he gunned a black man down. Okay.
Vigil in Northridge for a man shot and killed by an off-duty ICE officer on New Year's Eve. DHS calls the officer a hero for confronting a man with a gun.
But family members of the man killed dispute that. CBS LA Lori Perez is live in Northridge with their message and their calls for justice. Lori.
Well, Hunter and Gio, there was a lot of emotion here tonight, as you can see, evidenced by just how many candles remain lit here at this memorial beside papers filled with sweet notes to the victim. Tonight, those who knew the victim have ID'd him as 43-year-old Keith Porter, well known and well liked in the community.
If I could say anything to the ICE agent, is that you're a murderer. You stole my cousin from me. You stole their father from them. You stole Franciola's son from her.
Keith Porter's anguished loved ones are praying for his soul tonight as they are demanding justice. The 43-year-old father of two died New Year's Eve after being shot by an off-duty ICE agent at the Northridge apartments where they both lived.
Say his name! Keith Porter! Say his name! Keith Porter!
Dozens gathered for a rainy vigil Sunday, asking why Porter's alleged shooter has yet to be arrested, though they suspect they already know the answer. Porter's family contends he was shooting a gun in the air to mark the new year, while DHS frames what happened this way in a statement saying, on December 31st, an off-duty ICE officer bravely responded to an active shooter situation at his apartment complex. In order to protect his life and that of others, he was forced to defensively use his weapon and exchanged gunfire with the shooter. Porter's friends and family don't buy it, suggesting ICE agents have been emboldened to take the law into their own hands.
We have these unqualified, racist people that are carrying guns and badges. I do also have law enforcement in my family, and every one of them has said that this is not standard, this is not protocol.
BLM LA leaders who hosted the vigil are outraged by what happened and by what hasn't happened since.
Were this anyone else, there would have been an arrest. You don't get to just murder people. because you don't like what they're doing or how they're celebrating. We want him named, we want him arrested, and we want him prosecuted. We also want ICE out of LA.
And this man was never even taken into the station. He went back into his home after murdering my little cousin.
You know, LAPD told us today the investigation is ongoing. They told the LA Times it would be several days before they would be able to talk to the ICE agent because of the protocol in how deadly force investigations are handled when they involve federal law enforcement officers. We are live in Northridge tonight. I'm Lori
All
Perry.
right, you guys, we're gonna wrap this one up, man. I appreciate you guys for tapping in with us, man. You know, I had to show this a few times because a lot of people never heard of, you know what I mean? They never heard of this story, man. The one that took place in Northridge. It's not getting mainstream coverage like the woman in Minneapolis, but it is what it is. This is why you have people like King Supreme. If you haven't heard of something, I'll come here and I'll shed more light on the situation so that more people could share the videos, share the information. This needs to have this story right here needs to it needs to hit the mainstream. Let me put it like that. This story needs mainstream coverage, most definitely. You know what I mean? We don't want to sweep this one underneath the rug. We want to shed more light on this situation as a whole. That's why I come here to share these stories with you all. Make sure that you guys share the content. I appreciate everybody for pulling up. And I'll be back with some more content in a minute, man. Peace, love, and blessings. Giving you gain to keep you from stressing. It's King Supreme. Make sure that you like the stream in a major way. I'm gone, family. Peace.